So I'm pleased to be joined with Valerie Williams. She's the project manager at Pilgrim Baptist Church. And, Black History Month is February. And so I want to chat kind of about your experience just being a part of Winnipeg's oldest Black church. I think that's going to be a really interesting perspective and just help inform Winnipeggers of just kind of like how we can inform ourselves, educate ourselves better. So, yeah, I guess a great place to start is just why is it so important to celebrate Black history?
Thank you so much, Angela, for inviting me to have this conversation with you. I'm thrilled to be here. Black History Month is one of my favorite months of the year. It's so important that we remember the struggles and the achievement the Black community has made. God has brought us a mighty long way, and we need to celebrate that. It gives us an opportunity to think about the roles Black people have played in shaping our society and shaping Canada, including advancements in science, politics, and human rights. We also need to reflect on the injustices and the systemic racism that Black people have faced and continue to face. And we want to be part of the solutions to removing those systemic barriers. We want to ensure that everyone knows about our history, which is often very marginalized, and acknowledge and integrate into the broader narrative of Canadian history. We want to, and my focus is on encouraging conversations about social justice and how we create a more just society.
And what are some important ways that, us as Manitobans can really learn that? It's one thing to hear it, but how can we actually put that into practice?
Attend a Black History Month event. I was at the opening of Black History Month last Sunday. It was held at New Anointing Church. And it was interesting. One of the speakers said there's 3,030 Black History Month events because a lot of us want to attend, but there are just so many. So attend an event, get involved, build relationships with Black people, get to build relationships with people different than yourselves. And every time I do that, I'm always amazed how much it enhances my life professionally and personally.
Yeah, for sure. And, talking about events, does Pilgrim Baptist Church, is there anything happening for Black History Month?
I'm glad you asked that because Pilgrim usually celebrates Juneteenth. And do you know what Juneteenth is?
I've heard of it, but maybe refresh
Okay.
listeners. Yeah.
Yeah, we have chosen to honor and invite the public to a Juneteenth celebration. It really, because there's so many Black History Month events in June, we have the opportunity to have the undivided attention of the community, and it is so well attended. And I'm going to tell you a little about Juneteenth. In
Okay.
1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. However, it was 2 years later, in 1965, when the news reached African Americans in Texas. So that is Juneteenth. And that is when we celebrate with prayer, feasting, song, and dance.
Hmm.
So, but we will be hosting an internal Black History Month celebration for church members.
And maybe just as people of faith in general, like how can listeners better educate themselves and just kind of do better to kind of bridge that divide that still is in society?
Hmm. I mentioned attend workshops, build relationships with Black people, read,
Mhm.
ask yourself who's on your social media feed. Start, reading books by Black authors. There's so many good books. Yeah.
Mm, absolutely. And Pilgrim has such a rich history in the city of Winnipeg as being like the oldest Black church in the city. So what has that experience been like? Talking off air, you're saying like that was your church that you grew up in, it was your family church, and now you're kind of a part of the team. So you've seen over the years. So yeah,
Yeah,
what has that
definitely.
experience really been like?
Well, Pilgrim was founded in 1924. Last October, we celebrated our 100th anniversary. It was amazing. I mentioned it was my family church. Pilgrim was founded at a time when the Black porters We're mostly in the area. We're still in the same location in Point Douglas location. And a lot of Black porters attended that church. And my father is one of those porters. So I always get a job when I get an opportunity to speak of my father, I do. He came to Winnipeg in 1930, joined the CNR as a sleeping car porter, and he recognized the systemic barriers and the discrimination. And he advocated for racial equality in 1955 for the porters. He challenged the CNR and the union because they had discriminatory clauses that prevented promotions for Black porters. Most of the porters were Black. It wasn't until 1964 the Prime Minister at the time, Lester Pearson, signed um, the act removing the discriminatory practices by the union and CNR. So I'm really proud of that.
Mm.
We have a lot of Black history, a lot of Black heroes here in Winnipeg, Manitoba that we want to celebrate.
Absolutely. And yeah, we're going to be celebrating all month for Black History Month.
Yes,
But,
we
you know,
are.
maybe someone's been watching or listening to this right now and they want to know more about Pilgrim Baptist Church. Maybe they're looking for a home church right now and they're just looking for a community. Where's the best place for them to get that information?
Join us. Sunday morning worship service starts at 11. Pilgrim Baptist Church is at 41 Maple Street, and we welcome everyone. Everyone is welcome.
All right, Valerie, thank you so much for joining us and yeah, just opening up this conversation on Black History Month.
Thank you, Angela.